So, we've just got ourselves a new motorbike, and I'm feeling pretty good about this next bike review because finally, straighten these cameras off, finally, the Bonneville has arrived. I've been waiting for this moment for about 3 or 4 months when we actually paid for the bike. Well, it's finally here, and we're just about to go on a Bonneville adventure. Now, I've been just really blown away picking this bike up. I've always known that the Bonneville is obviously one of the best British motorcycles that have ever been produced, and I'm really impressed. It changes gear nicely, not like the bobber. I mean, it's the same engine as the bobber. It's the same bike as the bobber in a lot of ways, apart from styling. But whereas I got on the bobber, and don't get me wrong, I think the bobber's a fantastic bike. The seat height for me, as I'm getting older, and I've put a few more pound on, a lot more pound on, the seat height of the bobber isn't the most comfortable, and you really do have to work the bobber, you know, in the bends and in the twists, because it's got that really heavy front wheel on it, and you've got to kind of work the bike a lot more. This is a biker's dream. It's got plenty of torque, it's got plenty of power, and it really does handle well. It's nimble. It's something that you could use on an everyday basis. You could be commuting on this bike if you want to. It's got a touch of class to it, and the finish on every part of the bike is just fantastic. We've bought Motor Gutses, we've bought Royal Enfields, and we've bought Triumphs, and we've bought the Harleys. I mean, the Harleys are a different type of bike. But these kind of sort of retro bikes that everybody's getting hot about, this by far is the best one on the market, 100%. It's kind of what I would say is a very respectable motorcycle. I've noticed on the Bonneville that people tend to stop and let you out. You know, you don't get that on the Harley. You'd be lucky. You know, people, especially on the road glide, you tend to get people going to hide and pray that they weren't really there or you wasn't. But on this, everybody loves the Triumph Bonneville. People smile at you when you go past them. I went past the bus stop and there was a young boy there who waved, you know. It's like, people just love Triumph Bonnevilles. I'm in the middle of the Canary Islands. I'm in the middle of the Atlantic Island on a tiny, small little pebble compared to most places of the world. And everybody here loves Triumph Bonnevilles. They look, they wave, they smile, and look, I'm grinning from ear to ear because it's just so nice to ride. Now, don't get me wrong, I've known Bonnevilles back in the day. I think the very first Bonneville I ever saw was a friend of mine who had a passion for motorcycles. I was just getting into the bike scene at the time. And in his garage, he had a chopper that was almost built along the same lines as the Easy Rider film, but it was a Triumph Bonneville. And I always remember it because they were able to turn the head round because it was completely symmetrical, put in the twin carburetors at the front, almost creating like a turbo supercharged feel to the bike with the pipes running back from out. It worked. We're gonna just have a good, better look at this and let's see what it's really made of. Now, the first thing that I did find, maybe it's because I ride a lot of different bikes, but I did think the side stand was just a little bit difficult to get your foot onto. Could have done with maybe just pulling out or just a little bit big of a nipple. I don't know. Maybe I'm a man who likes big nipples. Who knows? But the rest of the bike, seat height, it's fantastic. All of the suspension set up and everything is stock from out of the shop, and it just feels great. It's got the modes on the clocks. The hardware is chunky. And one of the things I've really noticed on this bike, compared to the Moto Guzzi's, compared to the Royal Enfields, one of the things on this is attention to detail. It's just got that extra little bit of nice special parts that really, you know you're riding a Triumph. You haven't got to guess it. Let's take a look at the bike. Now, the bike itself, for me, looks fantastic, really well put together. I've had a matte black tank. I've gone with the tank side rubbers. I've also got the rubber on the middle of the tank for protection. The seat is in a nice kind of brown finish. It's good leather. It's got the emblem pushed into the back there. The bike itself all round has got attention to detail. Headlights, the hardware on the bike is all heavy duty. There's nothing that feels cheap. A lot of these other, like the Enfields and stuff, okay, there's a massive difference in price tag, and I get that. So you do get what you pay for. And sometimes I think you have to think of, how long am I going to have this bike for? And I think Triumph build the Bonneville for the lifetime user. For somebody who's going to keep that bike for a long time. It's the final bike. It's not the entry-level bike. And that's why there's such attention to detail, and probably why the price is higher, because you're not going to be rushing back to Triumph to trade this in. Because once you've ridden this Bonneville, you're going to be very surprised at how it performs, at how good the bike is, how good it feels. I don't really harp on about bikes this much, but this bike today has really blew me away. And if you're thinking about getting a Bonneville, then let me tell you now, you're not going to be disappointed. This is even better than the Bobber. And I thought the Bobber was a great bike, but this is by far much better. Let's take a look a little bit closer, starting with the clocks. Now look, you've got the clocks here, but look at this nice little bit of chrome detail, Triumph badge there. That's just that little bit more than where the other guys go. You know, the Triumph stamped into the yokes, the hardware of the actual bike itself. Look at the chunkiness, the cleanness of everything, you know. And then we run down into this. This tank's actually, it's got to be at least 25%, 30% bigger than the one that's on the actual Bobber. The Bobber tank for me is too small. We've got the seat. Again, attention to detail. This is a Triumph, and Triumph want everyone to know that. The bike itself is just really nice and clean. Suspension feels good, setup feels good, such a smooth ride. Brembo braking systems, twin on the front, single disc on the back, and again, no problem with stopping power. This bike has been a dream. I've just jumped on this. I've ridden it straight back from up the north. I've just done about 80 kilometers on it, and it has just been like riding, I don't know, can you ride butter? Exhaust, stock exhausts on it. But, you know, let's get this bike Let's do it a start off. The stock sound on that bike sounds like a motorbike. Now, a lot of these places that we've been to, a lot of these dealerships, different makes and models, they all sound like sewing machines. You've got to spend another £1,000 on a set of exhausts to make the bike sound like a bike. Now, when you start adding up those sort of things and you start deducting that off the Triumph price tag, you start to realise that maybe the price isn't that bad. Let's take a look at the bike on an all-round trip. Just look at it. Again, attention to detail. You don't get that with the others. Look at the headlight. The nice Triumph emblem in the middle. Attention to detail. If anything, I did, after seeing all of the extra on this bike, I did think, and maybe I'm being fussy, but I did think the mirrors were a little bit flat. If anything, I'd have probably paid a little bit more attention to the mirrors, but that's the only thing I can find wrong with it. I mean, can we have such a fantastic motorcycle here that we don't need to do anything when it comes out of the factory? That it actually just fits what we do, suits us, we feel great on it, and everybody loves you on it. The kids wave at you at the bus stop. Can we really have it? I mean, the Triumph Bonneville itself, where did it start? Well, I think it was about 1950s. And the Americans, they wanted something bigger than the 110. So they pushed to get something for their market that was just going to give it the edge. And that's where the Bonneville came from. I think it was someone, Johnny Wilson or something like that, raced this engine on the flats somewhere, and they called it the Bonneville. He actually named the bike. The Fonz, remember the Fonz? The Fonz rode one. Yeah, he was on the T120, the cruiser style, remember? And he used to have the black leather jacket. I think Elvis, Tom Cruise, who else? Steve McQueen. I tell you what, if you know of any famous Bonneville riders, let's get them in the description, right? Who do you know that rode a Bonneville? Yeah, any famous names? Or it might just be Dick from down the road. It might not be called Dick. Maybe he's called Tom, huh? But put it in the description. Who was it you know that rode a Bonneville? I know someone, Ken Boone. Remember Ken Boone? Ken Boone rode a Bonneville, and it was the same for him. Everywhere he went, everyone was waving at him. Hello, Ken. And you know what? I remember that programme back in the 1980s, right? Everybody loved Ken Boone. He was a bike. He was this big guy on a bike. It was a Triumph Bonneville. Everyone loved him. There's something about Bonnevilles that everybody loves. And there's something about Bonneville riders that everybody loves. And that's why I'm one. One more look at this bike before we really take it back on the road. We'll have a good spin on it this time. But I tell you, I've been very, very impressed. Now, this is, of course, going on the books at Easy Rider Tenerife. You will be able to rent this bike probably from next week. But if I'm still having a love affair with this bike, then you ain't going to be able to rent it until the week after. Because this is almost like, it's like, I feel like I'm having an affair on the road glide, you know, and I've run off with the Bonneville. I don't even want to tell my road glide about this bike. I don't even want to put it in the garage next to my road glide. I don't want the road glide to know anything about it, because it just might sense how much I'm falling in love with it. Now, as I say, I've already just done about 80 kilometres straight back down, a long way round from Harley Davidson, who are the Triumph dealership as well up in the north. And I must say that the guys have really looked after me with this bike, not only on the flexibility of what I needed to buy this, but also on just the overall customer service that they've given me. Tabul, who I've just been dealing with up there, thank you very much. Fantastic customer service on this bike and on this purchase. And also Edu, a good shout out to Edu as well, who's been helping me out with various different things, parts and whatnot. So guys, thank you very much. And guys, I couldn't be happier, honestly. The Road Glide is up there at the moment, having some forwards put onto it. You can keep the Road Glide for a couple more days, guys. I'm having too much fun. Now it seems quite fitting that the British bike brings with it a little bit of British weather. And today, would you believe it, we are actually feeling a little bit of rain. Maybe that's the British in the Bonneville, or it could be, now I know that Nick, you'll be watching this, it could be Nick from Motto UK, who is in love with his Triumph Bonneville at the moment. You can look him up on his channel, Motto UK. He's got some great extras going on his bike. It could be that he's really wished this to happen to me today, because I've been taking the piss out of him for not being able to ride his bike because of the rain. Well, there you go, look, it's spitting, Nick. I'm not a fair weather rider after all. It's just so smooth. Such a lovely bike to ride. Handling is so easy. Braking is just all there. It's just all there. I think I can happily say I'm pretty blown away with the performance of this bike. I really am. What a lovely machine. I'm going to be riding this for the next few days, and I'm going to really get to grips with this bike. For the money, I think this has cost us around 12,500 because it's an ex-demo bike, so it's a little bit cheaper. But this is a fantastic addition, and if you're thinking about getting a Bonneville and you want a good excuse to come and test one, the T120 is now available at Easy Rider Tenerife. You can book online, or you can call us direct on the hotline. All of the details are on the website. If you want to come and try a Bonneville out, get on, and we'll see you on the other side. I'm off to enjoy the bike, because it's fantastic, and this is what motorcycling is all about. Adios till next time, guys.